Scene script. Have you ever wondered why people can be so selfish, seemingly prioritizing their own needs and desires over those of others? Welcome to a journey into the heart of human nature, where selfishness resides. Often we view selfishness as a negative trait, a flaw that needs correction. Yet, have we ever paused to consider that it might be a survival mechanism, deeply ingrained in our DNA? Every day, we encounter selfishness in its various forms. It could be as simple as someone snagging the last piece of cake without a second thought, or as complex as a friend betraying trust for personal gain. Such acts, while disheartening, are part and parcel of the human experience. But the question remains, why are we selfish? The answer lies not in condemnation but in understanding. By delving into the roots of selfish behavior, we can better navigate the labyrinth of human relationships and interactions. Understanding the root of selfish behavior might help us navigate our relationships and interactions more effectively. So what makes us selfish? Is it just a character flaw, or is there more to it? Let's delve into the psychology behind selfishness. At its core, selfishness is often a defense mechanism. From an evolutionary perspective, selfishness helped us survive. Our ancestors needed to be somewhat selfish to ensure they had enough resources to live. The me-first mentality is a primal instinct that can still come into play in modern times when we feel threatened or under stress. Beyond this instinctual response, selfishness can also be a product of fear or insecurity. When we feel uncertain or insecure, we might act selfishly to protect ourselves, to gain control, or to avoid feeling vulnerable. For instance, someone might hoard resources or opportunities not because they need them all, but because they're afraid of not having enough or being left out. Moreover, our upbringing and environment significantly influence our propensity for selfish behavior. If someone grows up in a competitive environment where resources are scarce, they might learn to put their needs first. On the other hand, someone who grows up in a more collaborative environment might learn the value of sharing and cooperation. Let's not forget about the role of mental health in this equation. Certain mental health conditions such as narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and borderline personality disorder can also contribute to selfish behavior. It's important to note that these are serious conditions that require professional help, and not all selfish people have these disorders. So when we label someone as selfish, we're often overlooking the complex web of psychological factors that underlie their behavior. We're not justifying selfishness here, but understanding these factors can help us empathize with others and maybe even help them break free from the cycle of selfish behavior. It's clear that selfishness is not just a simple personality trait, but a complex interplay of various psychological factors. Now that we understand why people can be selfish, how can we address it, both in ourselves and in others? Firstly, it's essential to realize that the journey to overcoming selfishness begins with self-awareness. We must acknowledge our own selfish tendencies before attempting to change them. It's like trying to navigate through a dark room. You first need to turn on the light to see where you're going. This light, in our context, is self-awareness. It helps us recognize our behaviors, thoughts, and actions that may be rooted in selfishness. Next, we move on to empathy, a powerful tool that helps us step into another person's shoes. Empathy allows us to understand the feelings and perspectives of others, making us less likely to act out of self-interest. It's not about agreeing with everyone, but about understanding their viewpoint. It's about realizing that everyone has their own story, their own struggles, and their own dreams. When we understand this, we become less self-focused and more considerate of others. Effective communication is another critical aspect of overcoming selfishness. It's about expressing our needs and wants without disregarding those of others. It's about learning to listen, truly listen, to what others are saying, and responding in a way that validates their feelings and respects their opinions. Finally, patience and forgiveness play a vital role. Change doesn't happen overnight, and dealing with selfish individuals can be challenging. But remember, everyone is on their own journey of growth. So when we encounter selfish behavior, let's respond with patience, understanding, and forgiveness. Let's create an environment that encourages growth instead of fostering resentment. Overcoming selfishness isn't a one-time event but an ongoing process. It requires constant self-reflection, empathy, effective communication, and a whole lot of patience and forgiveness. But the rewards are well worth the effort. It leads to stronger relationships, greater understanding, and a more harmonious society. In the end, understanding our selfish tendencies can lead to personal growth and improved relationships. Remember, Awareness is the first step to change.